Okay, let's say I want to do a few tasks on this data. This data is very simple. Right from 1974, when India started playing its one-day international matches, till today, whatever the matches have happened, it's a data containing match by match, player by player scores, each match wise, the player by player scores over the past so many international matches. Now, on this data, I want to do a lot of analysis, right? So, let's say on this, and for example, before I start with the analysis, this is only India's data. Same way, I may have the data of all the countries, one file for each of them, and each of the countries may have played different number of matches. So, the number of rows for each of the countries may be different. Probably a country like Ireland or a Bangladesh may be having very few matches, whereas a country like India or Australia or England may be having so many. So, keeping all those things in mind, so each file is a different thing, and I have to, let's say, execute the same set of tasks every time on a given data. I'll try to, so which means a macro or a VBA is an appropriate usage here, because as we discussed, any labor intensive kind of thing which has to be done on multiple kind of data or files, it's better to record it as a macro. Macro as such is more like a is more like a repeatable kind of a performance. Now, what can be recorded and what cannot be recorded? The basic step is, just imagine like your camcorder or a video recording tool. A lot of things can be recorded, but at the same time, a lot of things cannot be done also. As probably if I have to do, I record your performance, but in the middle there is some problem. I want to edit it and replace it with a new performance, only the 5 minutes part or something. The video recording tool will not help me with that. Either a mobile or a handycam, they cannot help me. Probably I have to go into the video editing tool, cut for that 5 minutes, and again record that separately. That part can still be done. Recording separately can still be done with a camcorder again. But inserting that exactly in this location can be done only through a video editing tool. So there are some parts which can be done even without the knowledge of video editing tool. Here imagine video editing tool is more like your VBA. So some parts of Excel, recording part, can be done even without the knowledge of how a video works. But editing requires a video understanding of, okay, how do I mix the audio and video? That cannot be done directly through the camcorder level. Some kind of special effects or something I have to put into the video, that cannot be done. Same thing is with Excel, right? Some part can easily be recorded, but there is still some activity which cannot be directly recorded, and it has to be handled through the coding itself. So the first time we will focus on some of the tasks which can be recorded to start with, and what I'll do is, on the top of that itself, I'll create an example where you cannot record, but you have to write the code as a part of that, right? So first we'll do a few set of tasks on this data which can directly be done through a basic recording, itself. All right, this is, let's say this is the data. On this data, I want to do a few tasks. let me write down those few tasks which I would be more interested in doing. So in the recording of the macro, I want to do a few automated tasks. One is sort the data based on runs. Then I'm more interested in highlight the top 10 strike rates with a green color. One more task. Then I would like to find out total runs scored till date, right? Total runs scored till date by the country itself, and probably opposition wise runs scored by the total country, and probably opposition wise averages. So there are some set of tasks which I am more interested in doing and trying to identify something at a country level. At a country level. So for every country, I want to do probably this kind of an exercise. And you can add as many tasks as possible. Probably looking at our data, you can very well think of probably year wise, right? Year wise team averages, something like that. You want to do a few of these things. This entire set of things can very well be done through basic Excel itself. Some formulas of Excel, you can do all these things. But the thing is, you have to do it on different files. Because there is one file for India, one file for you, probably one for England, one for Australia. And for all of them, you have to do the same set of activities. Don't think these are only 6, probably I may add 60. Right? It's like a India summary, India cricket summary. Like that, I want Australia cricket summary, where the summary is same. Just try to imagine for your data. The summary is the same, but the data is different. So the outputs have to be different. Right? Or probably again year-wise, year-wise team averages. One I will compute and even plot a graph. All these I want to do. Right? So it's a big set of activities. Probably you can think of doing 30-40 activities also. But for every country, assume there are 100 countries which are playing cricket. Right? So there are 100 such files. And remember that this data keeps changing with every match. A new data gets added. Probably 11 new records will be added. And with that 11 new records, again you have to do this entire thing. Because the totals would have changed. All these things. Probably some new top 10 scores would have. Some new score would have come into top 10. Right? All these are very much possible. So every time after every match, you have to do this analysis. And after every match, probably 2 countries' data has to be updated. So there's a huge task. So what I can very well think of is, probably if I have a kind of a macro, where I just click one button, all these things are automatically taken care of. Then, I'll just copy those 2 new match data. For this I click a button, for this I click a button. The whole calculation is taken care of. That is what a macro is really helping me out with. So this set of activities, first we'll try to create our macro. For this set of activities, we'll try to create our macro. Alright. So now coming back to our data. This is the data on which I want to do that. So anything, so here if I have to do all these six, at least 6 different tasks I have to do, and of course it's not just 6 because we may have to use so many clicks and so many formulas, and also at the end it may go to many number of activities. And if I don't record it, there is a possible chance of inconsistency across the different files. Correct? What I do on India, probably I may forget doing one step on Australia, or I may have to keep, okay, what all the things I have done on India without missing out, I have to take care here. But if I record it once, it can be replayed, just like your video or just like my class. If I record it once, I can replay it any number of times and there will be a consistency. Right? So this also we are trying to do the same thing, though it can be done in Excel very easily. We are doing it in Excel itself, but with simple recording button on. Right? So that is what we are calling as a macro. All right. Now the way we will look at that is in the view tab. We have an element called macros. Right? And there I am giving something as, I have something as a record macro. So the record macro is actually helping me to record the entire stuff. So I'll give a name to this macro, right? Country performance. I'm giving some name to this macro called country performance. And if required, I can give some kind of a shortcut key to this, right? Control something. So probably something which is not commonly used, please give. Otherwise, probably thinking country performance, so I'll give control C, then copy will not work. Only this will replace the copy. So probably give something else. Probably here also give control capital C otherwise, because it's a case sensitive. So give a capital C, then control normal C will be for copy and capital C will be for the country performance. Now the next thing it asks of is, where do you want to store this macro? So my preference, there are 2-3 things here. When I say this workbook, the limitation is it is applicable only to this data or only to this file. It's not applicable across. But our objective, at least in this case, is I wanted the same set of tasks for multiple files which are of multiple countries. So I cannot use this workbook. When I say new workbook, it's like an external repository. All macros I want to store in one location. That is like a new workbook. But when I say personal macro workbook, it's more like this particular macro, I want to use it for all the files in my system. For all the files in my system, I will save it into personal macro workbook. The way the personal macro workbook operates is, it is actually present in the startup folder of Excel. Which means when Excel opens up, actually internally it's another Excel file called personal macro. It's another workbook which opens in the background. You will not be able to see that Excel file. Of course, we have a mechanism to see that, but it opens in the background. So if you are simply clicking from here, going to Excel or clicking Excel here, when an Excel sheet is open,